And one thing I found out about Patron is you have enough of them, you become a one percenter. You decide to join the club. I'm Manny Vitale from My Fight Our War, and I am chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today got Manny Vitale. What's up, man?
My man, my brother, Bill Staxx. How are you, man?
Is it Vitale or Vitale? Vitale. I was right.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm still recovering from our show. Hanging out with you this past weekend. Had a great time, man.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, I know we were going back and forth. I mean, this has been in the works for a while. We've been back and forth now, chatting. Had it all lined up, and I was out there about a month and a half ago, or whatever it was. Everything ready to go, and all of a sudden, man, I'm down for the count. I've got sometimes issues with my voice. Bam, I lose it. It's like, fuck.
I was halfway there. There.
Man. And that's Bristol, which I now know because I was there for ESPN. But so because I never cancel. And I've been sick as shit. And I come on, but when I literally couldn't talk. And it was just like my last show I did the previous day was with Ian Bick. So thank God he carried his ass or my ass. And then, so we fast forward the next time, get everything lined up, and all of a sudden Matt walks in, our producer, and he goes, "Hey man, we got an issue with this." He goes, "Bill's sick as shit." He goes, we had to cancel, reschedule it, and it was just like, and then to find out actually how sick you were. So, but you know what? You can't keep us down when it was meant to be, and here we are, brother.
Yeah, keep pushing forward. And that's what you have done with your incredible story. You've been through some pretty wild things. Oh, we're gonna get into it today. So, where does your life begin, and what was your early life like?
Well, it started out with some of our stories, like when we have guests on, and you hear when you're talking some violence and drugs and all that. Well, I'm born into this. My parents were drug addicts and violence clubs. That's how I was brought up into the world. No, man, for me, now, granted, my mom and dad did split when I was very young. My mom, God bless her, she's an angel. Because my biological dad was very violent, verbal, physical abuse, emotional, mental, everything. Very evil man. And she got us out of there. So, people use split household and all that. And yeah, I bounced around to our family members, but it was great. It was like my family, I got surrounded by love and all that, so I can't believe nothing. Growing up, just whatever normal is, playing ball, hanging out with the family. We always had drinking, with our family parties. You'd see all the bottles and shit around, but nothing excessive. I started, I've always, even as a youngster, man, I've always liked the adrenaline. Doing shit that was like on the edge, just even a little shit, don't go, don't do anything, don't jump off that picnic table. Okay, I won't. We go up on the garage, just crazy shit.
Yeah.
And but as I got older, man, we would do the little drinking, sipping shit out of your uncle's beers at parties. But my drinking and stuff, I took baby steps on my road to addiction and violence and shit. Because actually going even through high school, the sipping and my biggest thing back then was just drinking. This was back in the late 70s, 80s. When I graduated in the early 80s. So we were drinking, smoking weed. Yeah, I didn't really do that much because it either did two things. I either fell asleep or just laughed my ass off. And I always like to be the life of the party. So yeah, man, it was just that slow process. And then as we got older, the party just started increasing, man.
Did you know what you wanted to do when you became older?
What's crazy is I did. And this is so crazy because when we first started high school, we moved over to the high school in ninth grade, and one of the teachers had us write down, what do you guys want to accomplish and what do you want to be by the time you're seniors, and then what do you want to accomplish and what do you want to be by the time you're like 21, 25, just like up to, I think it was up to 25 or whatever it was. So I remember I wrote, by the time I'm a senior, I want to be captain of the hockey team. By the time I'm 21, whatever it was, I wanted to go into first responder. I had family and friends. I had family who were police, fire, EMS in the family. And I always got into that, man, just the sirens and all that rush. So that was always in the back of my mind. By the time I was a senior, I was captain of the hockey team. And I did become a Detroit police officer. I also EMT, worked EMS. So those things were there. But I was a shitty student. I only went to school to chase girls and to play hockey. Fuck that education stuff. And it's paying for it now. But yeah, man. But I always, even in my crazy fucking drinking, riding with the one percenters, I always still had a big heart to help people, which sounds crazy with some of the shit we did.
Yeah. So how old are you when you first become a law enforcement officer, and what was that like?
I was late, man. Some of the guys coming in the job for both or all police, fire, EMS, first responders, some of these guys are like 20 years old when they're coming on a job. I was a late bloomer, man. I was 28. When I came on with Detroit Police. Prior to that, I was working in major hospital in Detroit, St. John, a major triage center, where I got some training in EMT, working the ER and all that. So that was building up through the years. But yeah, 28 for Detroit Police. But prior to that, I had the Harley. I had all my boys were riding with different clubs here in Detroit. We have the club I rode with. We had the Detroit Highwaymen. In our area, we had the Outlaws, the Renegades, the Hells Angels were starting to pop every now and then. There's some stuff going on there now, but so I knew all those guys.
What was your first introduction to the club life? What was your first? Do you remember?
The first introduction, man, I was young. I had a bunch of my buddies rode with different clubs. And of course, you go to the party. Yeah, we're having a party, man. Just come and hang out. I'm not riding with no club. No, man. That's not what we're about. We're just come and hang out with us. Well, that's throwing the bait in the water. We're just going to hang out, man. Barbecue and all that. You get there and as the beers and shots and lines and all that start going down. Yeah, come on, man. We just want to talk to you about something. So then they, throw why don't you hang around and all that. So that was all around. So the good thing was when you're a hang around and all that, not if you could go to all the houses and do all that shit. So I was young, like I said, early 20s with that. But this is important too, because it was before going into the police department that these guys knew me, which is important to the story because a lot of people are like, there ain't no way you rode with these guys, a former cop. And the only reason is because these guys knew me before going in. So they knew I had a hair up my ass and stuff. Good God bless his soul. I actually put him in a body bag. My boy Porky was my brother. He was my sponsor for the Highwaymen. He'd always ask me to come to parties. Nah, man, I'm good, Porky. And I'll never forget the night. A snowy night right before Christmas. My club name's Gunner. He's like, man, Gunner, come on, man. He goes, we're having a party, Christmas party. So come out of the house. All right. So me and a bunch of people go pay respects. He's always a good dude. Walk in there. I get my ticket, for the 50-50 raffle. I'm in there talking with all the guys. And they're like, yeah, Gunner, come on, man. All the brothers come on up to the bar. We're bellying up. We're doing shots of Patron. I'm like, oh, tequila. I'm gonna puke. I'm like, I go up
now,
there.
this is when you were in the club.
I was a guest with Porky. I wasn't in yet. And so I'm in there. So they belly up to the bar, and it's for all the members. So I'm sitting there, and they're like, "Gunner, come here." I'm like, "Man, that's members. That's like, man, you're one of us." So I go up there, and one thing I found out about Patron is you have enough of them, you become a one percenter. You decide to join the club, and that's what happened. After one Patron, and after I think the 10th Patron, I go home that night. The next morning, I come out of the living room. I look at my jacket. I'm like, what the heck? An armband. So I have to hit rewind. Okay, shots. Go, hey, gonna come in the back room, man. Do a couple bumps. Oh, hey, we'd love to have you ride.
So you don't even remember?
I'm like, so then, a lot of our drunken stupor nights, how you got to do the recap when you look out the window to make sure your truck's there the night. You open your eyes. Okay, there's no bars. I'm not in jail. Okay, you got to try to figure out how you got home. Peek out the window, make sure your truck's not smashed. So I'm doing the rewind. Oh, son of a. So I grabbed the phone. Porky, welcome to the family. I'm like, son of a. Next thing you know, I'm a probie. But
now this is all after your law enforcement career.
And that's why it's so important, because they knew me prior to, and I'd come hang out. And I was only with the police for a short time, and a lot of it was because of my choices I made: drinking, drugs. Obviously, not a good combination when you're a cop. Luckily for me, I had enough common sense and a head on my shoulders at that point, because I had a good friend of mine who was a cop in another city, and one of their boys had a serious drinking, drugging problem, and was trying to hide it, and people were trying to carry him along. He made some very bad decisions while on duty because of being out of it, to the hungover, whatever. It didn't cost him his life, but his partner got killed because of it, because of his actions or lack thereof. And I'll never forget that. As my life as an officer started dipping, drinking more, being hungover at work, not being able to do my job as an officer, man, that kept going. As I'm riding in the car, I'm thinking, if we have something goes down right now, I'm thinking about this as we're driving.
You're not 100%. You're not.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to function. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to pull my gun out, man. I mean, it was just like our hungover day. Well, now you're on duty. I remember having some talks with some friends. I'm like, listen, I'm stepping down, man. I'm walking away. I mean, I'm getting in fights and shit at bars while I'm on the job, or not working. I was off shift. I'm getting in bar fights and shit. So everything's spinning out of control. But like I said, luckily I had enough common sense, because if something happened to me, so be it, man. That's on me. But if something happened, especially with my partner or a civilian or something, because of me being under the influence, I couldn't do it. So I walked away, man, from my career.
How long were you a police officer?
I was only down there a couple of years, man. And the shooting and stabbing and all that wasn't even on the job. That was just another Tuesday of the wildlife, not even on the job with the police.
So you're still you're working for the police department, but this incident happens.
Yeah, that was right after. Well, the shooting and all that was after, but the fights and all that was during. So here I am, hanging up my uniform, leaving work, going to the strip joints, with all the guys, going to the different bars, getting in bar fights, getting the police called, and then getting there, they're like flashing your badge and shit. You get the get out of jail free card. But it's happened. I mean, it happens. A lot of cops, we go to bars, we do the same thing, man. But you get that, the brotherhood. So it's like, listen, get out of here. So that happened to me, and once, months and months go by. Well, now it's twice. Now it's happening, dude. It's fucking Wednesday, and we got you out of 2 jams since Monday. So things are spinning out. So I have a real heart-to-heart as I'm at home with some boys, and we're doing shots of Crown Royal, drinking, doing some lines as I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. as an officer. I'm like, well, as I'm doing this shit, so I step down, I leave. So what's the best way to go get help? You go. That's where the club came into play. And
to like fill that void, right?
Fill that void. I had, see, the thing is too, man, with the police, we're all brothers. You got that family. When you're a police officer, you're part of the biggest gang in the world. Your biggest club in the world is a police officer. I could go into anywhere. They find out you're a cop. You got that brotherhood. It doesn't matter if you're in another country. So you talk about the biggest club you are part of. So I always loved that camaraderie. And shit goes south. You get out in the horn, man. You call officer in trouble. The cavalry's coming and you're stomping. Well, club life. Now I got my brothers there, and instead of a badge, I got my cut on. And so it was like the same thing. I had that same love and acceptance. And if I didn't have what I wanted there, it's like, yeah, well, you want to do a bump? Oh, shit, we're done. Hey, man, it was like dominoes there in 30 minutes.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever had any interactions with the club while you're an officer, while you're on duty?
No, but I have had some interaction as a club member with the police after I left. That was interesting. Because now, here I'm riding almost the outer edge of the perimeter where I patrol. So now I'm on my ride. I'm on my scooter with all the guys riding. And now I got, you see, as you're riding, all of a sudden you start seeing this.